Was he by Danilko and Mike. Hark! Oh, wait, you want to read your lines? Okay. Hark! Jordan, he who doth climb up from the third floor. Come dine in our presence at 1920 Commons, for it is bountiful and brings great satiation, spake they. Alas, I shall not, for I have already eaten and used a meal swipe, said Jordan. Verily, I witnessed him there, and I waved and smiled upon his countenance, spake Danilko. Willst thou not dine in our company? Mike said. I will it, but I cannot, spake Jordan. And it came to pass that a glorious idea fell upon the mind of Jordan. He had just switched to the blue plan, plentiful be its meal swipes, and he had an excess of meals. An excuse shall grant me reason to dine in the presence of companions, thought Jordan. A holiday be reason enough to waste meal swipes. And spake Jordan to his companions, Lo, glorious and jubilant be this day. It is double dinner Friday. Double dinner Friday, exclaimed all. And they exchanged a three-way high five in accordance with the epic fashion, and trumpets were heard in the heavens above. Thank you. And Danilko will double dinner Fridays on the sacred sheet on the bulletin board. Thus, it was sealed. Double dinner Fridays, an epic occasion be it, should be repeated, thought they. And it was suggested that double dinner Friday should be the second of every month. But alas, the second of the month, it is not necessarily a Friday. And so, they decided that Double Dinner Friday, glorious be its name, would repeat on the first Friday of every month. Thus, it was sealed. And Jordan feasted upon the bounty of 1920 Commons once again in the presence of his companions, and all was good, except for the food. Thus, October is a happy month, and the bringer of the new era.
Ooh, sexy.
The new era.
Wait. Plot twist.
Should we not play parts?
Just read it. I want to know what happened. The idea.
You lived it. Anyway, this trip. And so, it came to pass that on the 6th of November, it was a double dinner Friday. But lo, no double dinner was celebrated. Thus, November is an unclean month, and those begotten by it are heretics. On the 4th of December, gathered were Jordan, Mike, and John at a great bonfire, and they remembered Double Dinner Friday amidst the donkeys and the figs. Thus, December is glorious for its renewal. But lo, the second dinner, majestic be its courses, was not partaken of at 1920 Commons, and there was a great gathering of the faithful in the caverns of Gregory. Their solemn reverence of their infinite bounty compounded its glory 1,000-fold. And they feasted, and they danced the sacred dances with one held above all others. So were Jordan, Mike, Danilko, Anan Kohav, Sumi, Sumi, Stuart the Kilted,
Ooh.
Daniel, Catherine, Dan the Heretic, and the Spirit of Jason made the 10 apostles of the double dinner. But alas, January saw a vast migration out of Penn's forest, and so the 1st of January saw celebration alone in the frozen wastes. Thus January is a sad time and a month of mourning. And so the 5th of February brought great rejoicing in the caverns, and the faithful returned and partook in a Roman bounty. But woe was on those who ate the foods of Jordan. Jason was present not just in spirit, but in body. And so, the glory of their infinite bounty was again compounded 1,000-fold. Thus February is a time of reunion. And it came to pass that on the 5th of March, Sumi was cooking meats.
As she is wont to do.
And the double dinner was not celebrated in the caverns of Gregory, but elsewhere, for Sumi was cooking meats. And alas, Jason and Anan Kohav made journey in the second migration, and man the heretic was vanished. Thus, by these woes, March is a time of disappointment. And on the 2nd of April, the apostles wished to celebrate, and they returned there to the caverns, for Sumi was not cooking meats. Don't interrupt me. And lo, there were John and Katie found in the caverns, and so they became the first new followers, the super disciples, and each compounded the glory of their infinite bounty 1,000-fold. Thus April is a time of prosperity. And it came to pass that on the 7th of May, all wore sacred headgear upon their heads. So were new disciples brought to the double dinner, and John led a solemn service. So for each, the infinite bounty was compounded in glory 1,000-fold, and all wore sacred headgear upon their heads. And Stuart, bekilted, brought forth robes. So were the apostles clothed in his robes. Thus the apostles' true names were revealed. And Shoko became the Lord of the three-way high five, and Sumi, the priestess from distant lands, and Catherine, the guitar princess, and Dan the heretic, the November heretic, and Jordan, the grand high priest of the double dinner, and Mike, the master of ceremonies, and Daniel, the guardian of the machine spirit, Stuart bekilted, the piper to the second dinner, and Anan Kohav, the bewildered one.
Just like old times, eh?
What did I tell you about interrupting? Thus glory of Double Dinner Friday was received. Then Anan Kohav recited his poems, but woe was upon the ears of the faithful, for the meter was rough. Alas, at its conclusion, crazed strangers came to the caverns, and Anan Kohav was carried off. Thus May is of mixed nature, and is a time of confusion. Fortune smiled upon the countenance of Anan Kohav, for he was found alive the next day. Then the warmth of the sun brought about migration once again. On the 4th of June, all were scattered across the lands, and Stuart bekilted became nomad. So too was Sumi sent to the southern lands, and Daniel to the true north, strong and free. Thus June is a month of upheaval. And it came to pass that on the 2nd of July, Jordan was marooned on a Spanish isle, and he celebrated as he dug in the earth. Thus July is another in the season of upheaval. Then it came to pass that on the 6th of August, Double Dinner Friday was celebrated by Jason and his siblings in the land of Israel, and by Stuart bekilted was it in the land of the thistle.
Hey.
So for each, the glory of the infinite bounty was compounded 1,000-fold. Thus August is a time of renewed glory amidst tribulation. And so it came to pass that on the faithful, making journey back to Pentecost. And they celebrated, some together, some apart. And John was cooking meats. September is the last in the season of upheaval, and harbinger of a new era.
Hey.